So hi there, this is Richard, Irresistible Dick, talking about some modifications I'm making on a pachinko machine, and some things that I purchased on eBay to make that possible. I'm not getting it into the machine just yet, but these are some pretty cool things that I purchased. I use 12 volts for my machines. I know that the pachinko machines typically take 10 volts. The extra 2 volts I have found really doesn't affect the lights in any bad way, and so I have rechargeable sealed lead acid batteries that these are typically used for like security systems or emergency backup lights, UPS systems. They're pretty easy to get, not too expensive, and they are more than adequate for the power that a pachinko machine uses. So went on a couple of little adventures on eBay. This was quite the find for about 20 bucks, 25 bucks. A lot of 47 or so various microswitches. So the pachinko machine I'm going to work on, the Marudo New Prince, does not have any electricity on it to begin with, and it's kind of a plain machine. That's kind of why I chose this one for zipping up a little bit. It does have some translucent panels at the back, but we'll get into that when we take a look at the machine. Right now what's interesting is that I have all these switches to choose from, and what I'm going to be looking for, and I'll show you why. Let's start with this. This little set of two, I looked for sequential turn signal indicators on a search of eBay. Came up with these things, a set of two of them, and they're designed to be, they have an adhesive strip on the back, and they're designed to be used inside of the watertight compartment on your headlights on your car. So they work on 12 volts, and when you apply power to them, it lights up sequentially an amber light for turn signals. What I didn't expect, and I'll show you this real quick, so here's one of them. This is the kind of surprising one. So these are the daytime running lights that are part of this same thing. There's two strips of LEDs in these units, one yellow and one white. And the yellow one acts as a turn signal, so it's sequential like this. But the white one, to my surprise, has this weird little sequence. When it lights up, it just doesn't turn on. It turns on kind of in a showy way like this. And I thought, this is really cool. So for a grand total of 8 bucks, I got two strips of these, and they can be trimmed down to different lengths, so that they just said, there aren't any instructions with it. It is cheap Chinese stuff, but they say in the description on eBay that as long as you cut them in sequences of 3, because that's how they're programmed to work. So multiples of 3 LEDs, and there's quite a few LEDs here. You can cut this any length you want to, and still connect power to it, and it'll still work okay. We'll try that out and see how that goes, because these are a little bit long for our purposes, but they are super cool. So looking forward to doing that. This other thing I picked up, I actually saw this at a Menards store here in town. A set of LED truck lights. I think the company's called Truck Tuff, T-U-F-F, and this was a little more expensive. This is about 20 bucks, and but in the package it has a test switch and actually a little source of power. It's designed to be hooked up to a 12 volt battery for automotive work, but it has a little push button so that you can see how it works when you're in the store, and a little controller that has several different effects that these LED lights will do. So this was cool. It caught my attention because of the switch, because I could just easily take this little power supply and this switch, adapt it to a pachinko machine, and use the switch as a trigger. So in this case, this is just a solid on, you know. But it does some strobing effects too, like that. A little faster strobe. And they alternate too. So that's kind of a cool effect. So at first I was going to take just maybe one or two of these and use them on different backlighting for the center features on some of the pachinko machines I have. Haven't really decided how I'm going to apply these yet. The new Prince Marudo machine that I'm going to be putting the strip lights on, they have translucent panels on the pockets, and that's like an amber color, and so backlighting those might be kind of cool. It kind of remains to be seen because it doesn't have any electricity at all. I have to figure out a way to use these microswitches. And so here's the interesting thing that I was looking at in using the strip lights, was that the sequence of having the white LEDs turn on, the really fancy thing that it does here, takes about 5 seconds to run through its whole routine. That's way longer than a typical pachinko machine switch will stay on for. The yellow, on the other hand, goes by pretty quickly. You know, a regular pachinko switch probably would work okay for that because it's just a very quick strobing effect. Bam. So what I'm looking for then is one of these microswitches, and there's all kinds of them that I have here, but in particular a microswitch like this, show that to you pretty close if you can see that, is this microswitch has 3 terminals on. This is a pretty standard configuration for a microswitch. You have one common terminal, one that's normally open, and one that's normally closed. So we could hook up this the strip light with the white lights hooked up to the normally closed switch, right? That means normally closed without the button being pushed. And when the jackpot activates, it will activate the yellow strobing lights for a second or so, and then release and start that sequence on the white lights. So the white lights will stay energized all the time and be on, and the yellow lights will only turn on when there's a jackpot being dispensed. And we'll experiment with that. I do have a timing relay that I can use if I need some fancier stuff, but this is pretty straightforward. Just power to this, white hooked up to the normally closed, yellow hooked up to the normally open, and I'll see if I can find some sort of convenient way. The trick then is just to put these inside the machine in such a way that I can fish this wire from the front to the back. I'll have to drill a hole in a very strategic area that's not going to affect any of the inner workings of the machine. And I've got 2 of these to work with, so we'll see how it goes. And so in my next video, we'll dive into that new Prince, and we'll see how we can get it up and running. Thanks for checking me out.